What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media today. My name is Ryan Linkletter. I'm here with David. David, how we doing today?
Feeling good, ready for playoff football. Seems like we're still a few weeks away, but I'm ready for it.
I'm sure you are ready for it now that the Chiefs are out and you guys have nothing in your way of stopping you from a Super Bowl.
I'm ready.
This is the year for the Buffalo Bills. This is the year. But yeah, I mean, fantasy football playoffs are here. Me and David are going to be answering your guys' questions until we don't have any more questions left in that chat today. So hopefully you guys are in a great spot with the playoffs. Maybe some of you guys had Puka Nakua or JSN off to a great start. Maybe you started Matthew Stafford, or you have Colby Parkinson, where that was the biggest disappointment of the week for a lot of us. And
Yep.
he did absolutely nothing against the Seattle Seahawks defense, despite the matchup. So, like I said, me and David are going to be here for the next about hour answering every single one of your guys' questions. So, start firing those in the chat down below, and we will get those in order. So, David, without further ado, let's get in the first one. Jelly of the month, welcome back, my guy. Rico or Michael Carter, Michael Wilson or Jaden Reed, half PPR. What are you thinking, David?
The Cardinals' run game is. It seems like they just have a different guy go off every week, but I would lean more towards Michael Carter. Nah, that's just me. But for a receiver, it really just comes down to is Marvin Harrison playing?
He is in. Marvin Harrison is back in the lineup. So Michael Wilson. A lot of people are going to feel a little bit hesitant about him. I guess I'll give my take. I'll give my take about him shortly.
Yeah. Let's see. Packer or Jaden Reed's playing the Bears. I might still lean towards Michael Wilson just because I trust Jacoby Brissett more at quarterback.
Yeah, see, the way I look at this thing, right, Rico Dowdle, I have him over Michael Carter. I think Michael Carter has a great matchup against the Falcons. I think he is a good plug and play option for a lot of lineups, but I think the Rico Dowdle hate has gotten a little bit out of hand. He scored 11.4 points or more in 5 of his last 6 games. That's a solid, steady floor. I know it's nothing crazy, but he's not going out there and getting you 6 points or just absolutely rooting your week at this point. He's just been a steady RB2. And sure, he hasn't lived up to the RB1 production I think a lot of us thought he was trending towards in the middle of the year. But I think that the matchup this week provides a very good opportunity for him to reach that mark. He's still averaging around 18 touches per game. And this week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 5th worst in the NFL in yards before contact. And Rico Dowdle, his biggest success this year has been yards after contact. You pair those two numbers together, David, I think Rico Dowdle is going to be in for a nice performance. One thing that's underrated too about that defense is they also struggle against receiving backs out of the backfield. Dowdle's involvement in the passing game has been a little bit hit or miss. Some weeks he's been really involved, other weeks he's kind of disappeared. But I think this week against Tampa Bay, where Bryce Young has historically struggled against them, they have a good matchup on the ground. I think Rico Dowdle should be able to exploit it well. And then as far as Michael Wilson or Jaden Reed go, it looks like Christian Watson is trending towards playing today, which would be a big bump for him. I have him, if he's active, he is all the way up to my wide receiver 17 if he's active this week. He went off against the Bears last time. Great matchup once again for him. And that knocks Jaden Reed down to a wide receiver 4. But Michael Wilson, right? Marvin Harrison Jr., limited practice the entire week, likely going to go. He's officially listed as questionable right now. I would still lean Michael Wilson. He's had top 5 wide receiver production, right, without Marvin Harrison Jr. With him, right, he's going to be around that low end wide receiver too. I have a hard time believing a guy that's seeing 10 to 12 targets a game right now is going to fade off and get 1 to 2 targets with Marvin Harrison Jr. coming back, who it's not like he's performed like Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson in this offense. Wilson honestly has looked better than Marvin Harrison has over the last 2 seasons in this short sample size with Jacoby Brissett. And their chemistry is very clear to me. So I'm riding Michael Wilson, ride the hot hand, because he has just been a dominant player who has gotten you to this point at this point. I don't even know what I'm saying. But P. Krupp here. Theo Johnson or Darren Waller, Vikings or Chiefs D, full PPR thanks. What are your thoughts, David?
Hey, it's playoff time. You got to go with whoever you think has more potential to give you 20 points. Darren Waller. He's going to give you 20 or you're going to be upset that he gave you 3 points. One of the two will happen. And right now is the time you play those players that you stashed away. Maybe they've been on your bench for half the season. But the guys that have the most potential to give you a ton of points, that's when you play him. And that's exactly what Darren Waller is.
Vikings or Chiefs?
Chiefs are playing the I'm Chiefs.
Yeah.
I don't need to look at who Vikings are playing the. I still go the Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the spread in the Chiefs game's 3.5 right now. So I think like the Chiefs defense, they're only going to be missing basically Trent McDuffie. Like they'll still be performing at a level where they're not allowing points. They're going to stop the run. The Titans have been better the last 2 weeks, but let's not act like this is still not one of the best streaming matchups in football. And whether or not the Chiefs move the ball with Gardner Minshew, that'll be to be determined. But I think that the Chiefs defense should be in for a nice game. The over under is 37.5 for that game, so that's a good matchup to start a defense. Vikings, I know they're a great defense, but Jackson Dart has given a lot of defenses headaches at times. As far as Theo Johnson or Darren Waller go, Johnson's been really strong, like 10 plus points in 3 of his last 5 games. He has just been a solid producer in this offense, hovering around that 20% target share, but he hasn't scored a touchdown in 6 straight weeks. That's not going to win you your week, kind of like you alluded to when talking about this argument earlier. Darren Waller can genuinely win you this week because of the matchup that he has against these Cincinnati Bengals. Most fantasy points allowed to tight ends, most receiving yards allowed to tight ends, most catches allowed to tight ends, most touchdowns allowed to tight ends. Basically, if you bet or have a tight end against the Cincinnati Bengals, that's the matchup you want to target. Every single week, I'm throwing money on the tight end against the Cincinnati Bengals, and it has been a profit maker this year. So Darren Waller, I know a lot of people are concerned with Tua out, but in games he's finished this year, he's been the tight end 5 in points per game, which has been incredibly encouraging for him. And he scored 2 touchdowns just last week alone. Darren Waller is a great play. He's heavily involved in this offense. And Jalen Waddle has a really tough matchup on the outside. I think a lot of targets are going to funnel back to that tight end position, and he is going to cash in for a very nice day. I will say before we get to the next question here, one little announcement. We'll have this again a little bit later, but Blitz Sports Media looks like we are going to be rocking with their own fantasy football playoff challenge. So more details to come with that. Big prizes for you guys, small entry fee, and hopefully we can get that thing finalized for you guys. Enter your own lineups on a weekly basis, compete against myself, David, other Blitz members, right? Should be a great time. And hopefully this is something we can build on in the future to get a lot of you guys involved with that. Dave needs some help here. Lineups in the semis. Here we go. Let's take a look at this lineup real quick for him. He's got Brissett, Pickens, Sutton, Cook, Henry, Pitts, Michael Wilson, the flex, Eddie Pinheiro, Eagles defense. Bench, he's got Young, Dowdle, Reed, Warren, Estimate. Any change projected to win by 6. David, is there anything in this lineup that stands out to you that you're concerned about at all?
Is the Kyle Pitts over Tyler Warren?
No, don't even, bro. Don't even. Stop it. Kyle Pitts has been a dog. 3 straight games over 15 points.
It's so hard for me to put as someone that drafted Kyle Pitts in my startup dynasty a few years ago.
He has a lot of PTSD, but I mean, think about.
I do have a lot of PTSD, but benching Tyler Warren, it's. I don't have a problem with starting Kyle Pitts. It's just benching Tyler Warren, and then it comes down to, all right, if I put Tyler Warren in the flex, where does Michael Wilson go? And honestly, I think I would move Michael Wilson to wide receiver 2 so I could put Tyler Warren at flex and then put Sutton on my bench. Because I'd rather start Tyler Warren than Courtland Sutton.
Interesting.
But that's just me.
I think, honestly, I hear your logic behind that, and I think you could pivot 2 ways with this lineup. I think you lock Kyle Pitts in that tight end position. He's my tight end 3 this week. Warren is my tight end. Let me pull it up real quick. Warren is my tight end 12, right? There's a big discrepancy between those guys entering this week for me. Pitts has been on fire. You got to ride the hot hand, even with Drake London coming back. But as far as your wide receiver position goes with Sutton and Wilson, one of those I think you should play. I personally think that I have Wilson 2 slots higher than Courtland Sutton. He's just been a bit inconsistent. I know the Jaguars are a matchup that could give him some problems at times. And he kind of like Courtland Sutton's been the player this year that he's scoring like 14 to 18 points, or he just has a 4-point dud. And it's just incredibly frustrating. Personally, I think you go Michael Wilson in that wide receiver 2 spot. and then you put Rico Dowdle in your flex spot. I think that is probably the better play because Dowdle at least has that floor of he's getting that 11-point threshold and he has that matchup that you can target to go and chase that 20-point ceiling. And that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable playing a guy over Cortland Sutton, who has been a bit more volatile this year. Next question here from Zay. We got Burrow or Herbert, and he needs two of Chase Brown, Bucky, or Judkins, and then Evan or T. Higgins. What are your thoughts?
Chase Brown easily for me. He's been the most consistent back the last, I want to say, 6, maybe 7 weeks. He's just gotten around 15 to 20 points every week. And for wide receiver, Mike Evans. He's not out of the 1,000 yards just yet. He might pop off for 300. He might get 300. But yeah, I definitely would start Mike Evans over T. Higgins.
Mike Evans over T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Man, this one's tough because like Joe Burrow just been playing bad, like Herbert's been playing bad, but this I think is a get back game for the Bengals offense just a little bit against the Dolphins defense. I know the Dolphins are a bit underrated, right, in terms of defense production over probably like since week 6 they've been a little bit more improved, but Burrow when he has T Higgins back has just been significantly better and his fantasy production has been in line with that. So I would lean Burrow despite Herbert having the better matchup. I do think that Dallas will be able to provide some pressure. Everybody's been able to provide pressure against that Chargers offensive line. So I think Herbert still has those concerns for me. As far as the running back position goes, you don't bench Chase Brown right now. He's just been too consistent for you this second half of the year. And then Bucky and Judkins is an interesting one. Judkins has just burned so many people this year. I have him as a must start this week, but I don't have him as high as Bucky Irving. So I would still lean Bucky. He has that 15-point floor. It feels like every single week he's sitting at that mark. He's been incredibly inefficient since returning in this Bucks ground game. I've already talked about it on the podcast a little bit, but it's just they're just since Liam Cohen left, they've reverted back to 2023 Bucks run game and before where they're just not a good ground game. That's just what we're seeing from Tampa Bay. And I do think Liam Cohen has a massive impact on that. But I would still go Bucky over Judkins and then go Mike Evans over T. Higgins. Evans is my wide receiver 7 entering this week. Historically has dominated Carolina in the past. Got to go him over T. Higgins, in my opinion. His other question here is Ted McMillan or Christian Watson. What do you think?
Oh, that's actually a really good one. If I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't really have a preference on this one. I'm comfortable. I'm
you're starting both. You're starting both.
I want to know who's in this flex. Well, I think both have phenomenal potential to get you 15 points. They're both the last few weeks, especially Ted McMillan, they've been very consistent, getting you around that 10 to 15 point marker. I don't know if either of them will pop off for 20, but they both have very safe floors for their matchups this week.
I'm going. So it's funny. You mentioned how you can't choose one. My wide receiver 17 in PPR is Christian Watson. My wide receiver 18 in PPR is Tetairoa McMillan. So I obviously if Christian Watson somehow does not play tonight, we're expecting him to play. You go Tetairoa McMillan, but I think the matchup with Christian Watson and the Bears, you saw it in the first time. His explosive playmaking ability in this offense and how he is elevated to be this team's wide receiver 1 has been impressive. Even against Denver before the injury, the usage was still incredibly strong. He's just seeing more targets underneath. It's not just like a deep shot once every 3 quarters to Christian Watson. He's running other routes. He's getting heavily involved. He leads the team in first read share right now. He's just been really good. Christian Watson is a guy that I want in my lineup this week against the Chicago Bears, a team that he already went off on a few weeks ago. So I'm going Christian Watson. I do think Tet is a solid play this week, a strong wide receiver too, but you have to think in the back of your mind, like Bryce Young, 11 of his 13 games this year have been under 200 yards. That's not great for wide receiver production. So there's definitely that concern as well. Welcome back, JC. Good morning. Family, I lost Rashee Rice this week. That was incredibly disappointing for a lot of people. This week I have Puka and Chase, so you're definitely still stacked. I was going to flex Rice. Should I start Dowdle or Sutton have PPR? Starting Taylor and Hampton. I kind of already alluded to this, but I'm going Rico Dowdle. The floor is there. The ceiling is there with that Tampa Bay matchup, who ranks 5th worst in the NFL in yards before contact. Rico Dowdle excels in yards after contact. Pair those together for a nice day. What are your thoughts, David?
With this lineup, honestly, I don't think he could start Le'Veon Bell in the flex, and I think he'd
Well, he
still
already has
win.
he has Puka too, so he already got the massive 40-point bomb.
But yeah, you don't really with this lineup. You don't need a player to bust out for 2025 in the flex. I as much as I want to say Cortland Sutton, I think Rico Dowdle, as you mentioned, he's gotten about 11 points at least, and
5 of his
that
last 6, yeah.
yeah, with how this lineup's constructed, just go for consistency in the flex and don't do anything crazy if you don't have to. So yeah, start Rico in the flex.
Yeah, 100%. All right, next question. Shout out to our boy Dougie G. Welcome back. Playoffs march on. Decimated by injuries last week. Here are my options. Hurts or Burrow at quarterback, and he needs 2 wide receivers from the following: Michael Wilson, Drake London, and Wandell Robinson. What are your thoughts?
I'm actually so glad we got a Wandell question because he's in my dynasty, and I was browsing because I have Rashee Rice in that league. I'm like, oh, who do I start this week? And I look, and Wandell Robinson is wide receiver 9 in my dynasty league.
He's been
I was
Robinson's
like,
been so good this year. So good.
but that, yeah, I was speechless. I was like, really, Wandell?
He's been
But
that
for
good.
for the quarterback, I'm going to start Hurts for the reason I I have a weird feeling that the Bengals lose this game, not because they're less talented, but if there's ever a time for a team to quote unquote tank, the Bengals have 4 wins. Why would they not just try to get a top defensive player in the draft?
They're playing to win. Zach Taylor said, "I'm not shutting down my guys if they're healthy. I'm
Zach
not shutting them
Taylor is an
down."
overrated coach.
Well, no, yeah, Zach Taylor is still having it. Well, the thing is Underdog reported today that it wasn't Underdog, but I saw the Underdog count reported this from a reporter that coaches' jobs that are safe. 2 were interesting ones that included the Arizona Cardinals and Jonathan Gannon, and then Zach Taylor and the Bengals reportedly are expected to have 0 coaching changes heading into next year, which is beyond me how job security in Cincinnati works, but
They should do a coach trade, but both teams will have better success. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm going Hurts at quarterback just because I do think the Bengals. If tanking is a real thing, we'll find out tomorrow with the Bengals Dolphins game, 100%. Because there's no
football,
shocking
dog. It's
viewers.
football. Those guys are going out there and playing. Those
Hey,
guys
I'm a firm believer behind the scenes teams tank.
I don't believe it. I don't tanking
Hey,
in
the
football is
Dolphins
so
are
hard.
paying Brian Flores the tank. You don't think they're slipping Quinn Ewers a mill to?
Nah,
Or I guess it'd be to win that game, but not
yeah, the guys are
other
going
way
out there.
around for the Bengals.
The guys are going out there to ball out. They're going out there to play. I got Hurts though over Joe Burrow. Commanders matchups are one you want to target. I don't think this Eagles offense is back by any means with 2 easy matchups in the last 2 weeks, but he's my quarterback 5, right? He has that tush push upside as always. Should be a nice passing matchup against the Commanders pass defense that's bottom 5 in basically every single key statistical category through the air. So I got Hurts over Burrow for a little bit different reasons than you. As far as the wide receivers go, Drake London, a guy that if he's healthy, he's in your lineup no matter what. And it looks like he's trending towards playing this week, which would be a big bump to your lineup. And then it's between Michael Wilson and Wandell Robinson, which is interesting for me. Oh, man. It's tough, but I honestly fudge. I mean,
I think with Wandell, I think
close.
with Marvin playing Wandell. That's what I would lean towards.
Minnesota's just a tough matchup, though, too. Minnesota's incredibly tough. I would go close.
Not that tough if they're 6-8.
No, their defense is very good. They just
I was being sarcastic.
I'm gonna go Wandell though. I'm gonna go Wandell. I think as far as the slot matchup goes, it's a little bit more enticing with Michael Wilson. There's still a little bit of that unknown. I do think he's a strong play in a lot of lineups, but like you mentioned before, Wandell has been very good this year and has been a consistent producer at the wide receiver position. So go ahead and stick with him. The next one, Darren Waller or Harold Fannin. David, what are your thoughts?
These are some good questions today. I was like, then again, it's playoffs, so everyone's got good lineups.
Yeah.
against the Bills. I do know Fannon's got like 15 receptions over the last 2 games, like a $160 and 2 touchdowns the last 3 games. I don't love his matchup against Buffalo because I think Judkins might actually have a pretty decent game. Bills' run defense is a meme at this point. But again, it kind of comes down to if you need a guy to go crazy, start Waller just for that potential. If you need a guy that you just need 10 to 15 for and just that's all you need, start Fannin. It kind of depends on his lineup.
For me, not even a question.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is Darren Waller all the way, and this is purely matchup. This is purely matchup based. Okay. Harold Fannin Jr. I have as a sit this week. Basically, the best strategy is to bench every single tight end the Bills are facing this year. They're the best in the NFL at limiting tight end production, catches, receiving yards, fantasy points allowed. They blanket tight ends. Only 2 tight ends this year have scored double-digit points against them, which is really, really good. Here we're getting into week 16 at this point versus Darren Waller, who's been really good this year when healthy, and he gets the Bengals, who are a walking meme at allowing tight end production, most yards, most receptions, most fantasy points. Right? You have 2 different swings of things with guys that are typically ranked pretty close together. Give me Darren Waller this week. Darren Waller is going to cash in on that production. All right, next question here. Evans, Metcalf, London, T. Higgins. I have to sit 2 of them. Standard scoring. What are your thoughts?
Starting Evans in London, no question for me.
I agree. I think as far as standard goes, like Evans, great matchup this week. London and T. Higgins are a bit closer in standard, but the Miami Dolphins perimeter receiver game has been a little bit better. I would go London as well over both those guys. I mean, those are a great situation to have, especially at the wide receiver position in standard. A lot of touchdown upside with those guys. I think all 4 are great options this week, but personally, give me Evans and London. I've got Rome Rice out this week. I've got Jennings, Scary Terry, Reed, and Coker. I need to start 2 of them in half PPR from Big Poppy here. What are your thoughts?
My condolences. What's the Jennings? I haven't seen the Niners. So they're playing the Colts. Ooh. Sauce Gardner's back, I think, right? Or is he still out?
No, I'm going Jennings. I like they have injuries at cornerback. Sauce and Charvarius Ward are still
they're still out. Okay,
right? Yeah, they're bottom 5 in the NFL in passing yards allowed as of late. If Ricky Pearsall's out too, it bumps him. Juwan Jennings is a borderline wide receiver 1 if Pearsall misses. Like the guy scored 5 touchdowns in his last 6 games. Like he's been incredibly good, and I think you get him in your lineup, you feel comfortable with that. But the other ones, a little bit sketchier. Let's just say that. I think Christian Watson's trending towards playing this week. Tyrell McMillan is playing this week. That automatically bumps Jayden Reed and Jalen Coker down to that wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 territory. I don't like Scary Terry's matchup, but he's your best bet here to get in your lineup and have a solid day in fantasy. All right, next question here. In Guillotine, TreVeyon Henderson or Derrick Henry, what are your thoughts?
They're playing each other, so that's fun. TreVeyon, I really hope the Patriots just stop feeding Stevenson. It seems like the last few weeks
they kind of have stopped.
I know that's what I'm leaning to, but I mean, like completely. I want to see Henderson. Not as a Bills fan, I don't want to see it, but as a fantasy football fan, I want to see TreVeyon Henderson get the entire workload. He's clearly the better running back, especially at this point in both of their careers. And Henry has, whether people want to admit or not, Henry's taken a step back this season. And with this matchup, I trust Mike Vrabel, especially to be able to scheme against Derrick Henry. If anyone's going to be able to, it's going to be Mike Vrabel. And with that being said, I'm going to take TreVeyon Henderson over Derrick Henry this week.
I got Derrick Henry, and it's not a significant difference. Henry is my running back 8, and then TreVeyon's my running back 14. So I think Travion Henderson showcased last week once again like what his ceiling can be. Like he's a true home run hitter, but let's just be honest, the Ravens run defense is a bit better than the Bills run defense, and we've seen when Ramondre Stevenson has been healthy that Travion Henderson's floor is so low. Like it's scary low, and especially in guillotine when you are in like a championship round like you potentially are at this point, you want to chase a player that at least has a little bit of a floor. And Derrick Henry also has a ceiling. Like everybody looks at New England like, oh man, they're red in my matchups. They're scary. They've been good against running backs the entire year. That's just not completely true because they're missing key pieces on that defensive line right now. And over the last 3 weeks, they have been one of the worst statistical defenses in DVOA. It's a good matchup. Like it is a great matchup for the Ravens and that offense this week because the injuries New England has. And that is why I think Derrick Henry is in for a strong game. So I would go Derrick Henry over Travion Henderson personally. His other
Maybe I'm
question
putting
here,
too much trust in Mike Vrabel, but
no, I am picking
I like that it's him coaching the Patriots
I am picking the
against Derrick
Patriots to win
Henry.
that game. I'm picking the Patriots to win that game, but I do think that the Ravens are going to get theirs at times offensively because this Patriots defense is just down guys and they have not been consistently good against the pass. They lack a pass rush. Like Vrabel's done a great job in his career against Lamar Jackson, but I also think that they're going to get theirs because the Patriots are struggling. So I think there's some give and take there.
Has not to stick on this too much longer. Has Vrabel played Derrick Henry yet?
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think he has. It will be interesting, but I mean,
it's gonna be a great matchup.
yeah, it'll be a good game for sure. All right, guillotine flex here: Michael Wilson or Travion Henderson. I think I know where I'm leading. Where are you going?
Banger after banger question. I'm going for. I think for guillotine especially, you got to go with the guy, in my opinion, who's the bigger home run hitter. I still think Henderson is the bigger home run hitter compared to Henry. But with Marvin Harrison starting, I'm going to go Travion Henderson. I think he's more likely to get you 20, 25 points.
Yeah, I'm going Travion in this situation too, right? If Marvin Harrison somehow misses, you automatically are like, yep, Michael Wilson. As
Agreed.
quick as possible, you throw Michael Wilson in there. But you go Travion Henderson in this situation just because, like you mentioned, like when Travion Henderson gets the ball, he has that upside to take it to the house. And like Michael Wilson, while I think he can be a top 24 wide receiver this week with a healthy Marvin Harrison, there's always that uncertainty that he can completely just fades off, and you have that concern. All right, next question here from our guy. It's half PPR had Puka, WWWW. Pick three of Genty, Pitts, Reed, Carter, and Goddard. I'm going Kyle Pitts, locking him in there. I like Kyle Pitts this week. It gets interesting because Ashton Genty is a must sit, but he also has the volume when you're up by 20. I would go Genty. I don't like Genty this week and a lot of people I'm telling him to bench, but I think in your situation, you already have Puka who had that monster game. You know Genty's playing 85% of snaps, likely seeing 18 touches. That will play and that'll give you volume even if he does cash in on this matchup. So I would go Genty. I would go Pitts with that. And then the last one might surprise people. I'm going Dallas Goedert over Michael Carter in that situation. Like I said, I like Carter, but I think Dallas Goedert, I have him as a must start this week. I think he has a great matchup against the Commanders. The last 2 weeks, he's been within the top 5 tight ends on a weekly scoring basis. He's going to continue that hot streak this week against the bad Commanders defense. What are your thoughts?
So I'm mostly agreeing with Genty, Pitts. You definitely start in Jaden Reed right now with him being wide receiver 4 in Green Bay. It really just comes down to the third being Michael Carter, Goddard. I for that specifically, I can't lean towards one way or another. I think both will give you 10 to 12 points as a floor, and their ceiling is probably 15 to 16. Neither player has crazy breakout potential for this week, in my opinion, but neither one's gonna crap the bed, to be frank with you. So probably Goddard just for the if it's PPR, PPR, half PPR.
Yeah.
Lean towards Goddard then between those two.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure, kind of what happened. Shout out to our boy Doug here. Great discussion analysis as usual. I always bring the tough questions. I'm alive in 4 leagues because of the Blitz advice. Shout out to our GOAT, Dougie G. Shout out, got you as well. Appreciate you tuning in. We got one more of your questions coming up here shortly. Another quarterback question here: Burrow or Stroud? I got Burrow slightly higher. I do like CJ Stroud's matchup against the Raiders this week. It's a plus play. The Texans have been firing on all cylinders this week, but you got to trust Joe Burrow. Like I mentioned, the splits between with T. Higgins and without T. Higgins are significant, especially with a guy with no rushing upside. We know the volume is going to be there for them. And it seems like right now everybody's like they always do. The first few games it was Cincinnati season. They're turning against them. Think about it. This is only like the fourth game Burrow's played. This is going to be his fifth. Typically, he starts to get better as he plays more games. So I'm going Joe Burrow against the Dolphins this week. Who you going with?
Gonna hate me, but again, I think I just have a weird feeling the Dolphins are gonna win that game. Burrow might still have a decent game. I'm also biased because I lost a league by 0.17 points because I started Burrow and
Oh,
Trevor
see,
Lawrence.
this is personal. This is
And
personal. There's no
Trevor
logic. It's just personal.
and Trevor Lawrence was on my bench when Burrow did nothing last week. So
Yeah,
I'm very biased in this question.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are in that same boat as you.
Stroud's matchup, he's playing the Raiders. He's gotta have at least 20 this week. Like, I feel like his floor is significantly higher than Burrow is right now. That's just me. Honestly, that's
Jim.
just,
I don't know, Jim. I think it's a personal vendetta you got out for Joe Burrow.
a little bit or a lot, but I'd go Stroud.
All right, next question here. Standard League running back Javonte Williams or Judkins to start, or flex Judkins or George Pickens this week? Honestly, give me Javonte Williams or Judkins in a standard league in that lineup. I don't want Pickens in my lineup in a standard league. He's been trending in the wrong direction as of late. The Chargers are actually very good against perimeter receivers this year, or top 5 in a lot of categories in that position. And Pickens, he's only seen 11 targets the last 2 weeks. His production has dipped under 10 points in back-to-back weeks, especially in standard. Javonte Williams, Chargers run defense has been bottom 5 in the NFL in terms of EPA since week 5. Judkins, we all know the Buffalo Bills are something that we want to target as far as a running back based matchup goes. And Judkins, you got to get him in your lineup with that volume he has. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I typically love always starting running backs against Buffalo. Just again, it's been a meme. The last like 3-4 years, just a meme at this point. Definitely starting Williams and Judkins. I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry Jones told the coaching staff, "Hey, let's not target Pickens as much so we can get him on a better deal." That would not shock me.
Conspiracies today. You and your conspiracies.
It's the end of the year. So I'm just saying. Teams do some weird stuff at the end of seasons.
I will say this though, like at the end of the year, this week it's not as big, but incentives, right? Something you guys need to look out for. There are some big incentives in play. I'll pull up some of those as we go on this show and to close it. So you guys know about that for some betting advice heading into this week. Oh boy, another Joe Burrow question for us. Joe Burrow or Jackson Dart? I have Burrow higher than Dart this week. I actually have Dart as a sit. I know he's been really consistent in a lot of leagues right now, but Minnesota, really good. They haven't a lot of passing touchdown, David, since week 11. That's insane. That 0 passing touchdowns allowed since week 11.
And Monday morning, they allowed some in week 16. I'm starting Jackson Dart over Burrow.
You know what else they're struggling with, right? The Vikings are top 10 in quarterback rushing yards allowed too. So they're going against that. Like everything is working against Dart this week. I'm a big Jackson Dart guy, but this is not the week you play Jackson Dart. It just is not.
This isn't my bias against Burrow this week. I actually love Jackson Dart, and I just think with his rushing potential, he's the quarterback you just love in fantasy football. And
he is if he stays healthy.
Well, yeah, I can say that about Burrow. I can say the same thing about Burrow. I would start Jackson Dart.
Okay. All right. Next one here. Woody Marks is my flex, but if he's out, start Michael Wilson or Michael Carter. Go Michael Wilson over Michael Carter in this situation. Personally, Woody Marks or Michael Wilson? I would lean Michael Wilson over Woody Marks this week. The Raiders still have a little bit of an underrated run defense at times, and it's caused a little bit of inefficiencies. You even saw last week with Saquon, like they fed him so much, but he was incredibly inefficient. It's going to be a similar type of situation. The Raiders just have a solid run defense, and it's going to cause some ineffectiveness and inefficiencies. Woody Marks, even if he goes, it's a less than a week removed from an ankle injury. Like he could be less effective. So give me Michael Wilson and the volume in that situation. What are your thoughts?
I agree. Even if Marvin Harrison's playing, I still like Michael Wilson to again get 10 to 15 points as a floor and ceiling. And I'm not sold on Woody Marks against that defense to be able to do that again coming off the ankle injury. So I'd start Michael Wilson.
Yeah. Next question here. Remember, guys, we are going in order, so we will get to your questions if you have them fired in there. Hurts or Goff? I have Javonte Williams and Gibbs, so that'd be a stack with Goff. Also, Goddard or Waller. Oh, dude, this is teasing with me right here. I got Hurts and Goff back to back in my rankings. I have Hurts one spot higher than Goff, but to be honest, with the Gibbs stack, go with Jared Goff. I mean, he's been a monster, 20 plus points in 3 of his last 4. Since Dan Campbell took over as his offensive coordinator, he's just been throwing a ton, and he's had the volume and the production and fantasy that's been encouraging. The Steelers are going to be a great matchup for him. The 9th most fantasy points allowed at the quarterback position this week. Give me that matchup. And then as far as Goddard or Waller go, for those of you guys who've been watching this entire show, I'll give my spiel again on Darren Waller. Bengals, most points allowed, most yards allowed, most catches allowed, most touchdowns allowed to the tight end position. Darren Waller has been really good this season when healthy. Give me Darren Waller. I'm not worried about the quarterback change at all. He's going to be great this week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, honestly, I think with Quinn Ewers starting, that's more reason to start Darren Waller because he's inexperienced. He's probably not going to take as many shots to Waddle down the field. And I think they're probably going to run the ball a little bit more. Give it to Darren Waller underneath. As for the other,
Devon Achane's actually my number 1 player this week.
oh yeah,
Good guy to have.
Feast. He's gonna feast.
Good guy to have. This week.
I have no doubt Achane is gonna have 200 all-purpose yards.
All right, relax over there. I'm not gonna say that. Don't tease somebody like that.
I'm not. Book it.
All right, I'll bet on it today.
All right, you better. I'd start Hurts over. Oh, I was done yet, right?
Oh, my bad. Bad chemistry there. What are your thoughts?
I had to jump on the tight end. I'd lean towards Hurts just because the rushing potential, even if with the Goff Gibbs stack that you're a fan of, if he dumps off to Gibbs and gets 2 passing touchdowns, Hurts is probably getting 2 push touchdowns, and right there, that's 4 more points, depending on whatever else they do. So I would lean towards Hurts, and he's starting Williams and Gibbs. So yeah, Hurts and then Waller, I'd play.
All right, next one here. Question everybody wants to know: do you start or sit Justin Jefferson this week, Lad or Jettas? Personally, it's crazy because I have both these guys as a start this week, so it makes it a little bit tough for me to pick between these two. And listen, both of them have sucked. Both of them have sucked as of late, and they have burned a ton of fantasy teams. If you are still fighting in the playoffs and you own both these guys, credit to you because they have burned a lot of people this year. As far as Lad McConkey goes, he's struggled the last few weeks in large part due to matchups. Justin Jefferson, on the other hand, has struggled in large part due to him not cashing in on his volume, right? Last week he had 2 touchdown opportunities, one called back by a penalty, the other just fell through his lap. But, I mean, he's seen a 38% first read share and a 30% target share with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. David, if you put those numbers next to every elite receiver in fantasy football, you wouldn't notice a difference. And then you look at their production, it's significantly different. Justin Jefferson leads all qualified receivers in a negative expected points per game this season. Negative 4.2 points per game is where he's sitting at in expected points. It's just the volume's great. The usage is great. He's just not cashing in on those targets right now, and it's been a big concern. But as far as Lad or Jettas go, I am targeting Lad a bit more than I have Jettas. I have Lad a bit higher. It is in a large part due to the Dallas Cowboys struggling against receivers. Quentin Johnson looks like he could miss another game. If he does go, I still feel confident that Ladd is going to have the volume to be successful this week. But I like both these guys this week, but I have Ladd slightly higher. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I someone that has Ladd in so many leagues, I thought he was going to be insane this year in PPR. I was always taking him in like the back half of the second. And anytime I got sniped, my backup was JSN. So luckily, one of those panned out, but not the other. With that being said, I feel like Jettas is just one of those players. You might just have to just die on the hill. As sad as that sounds, if you drafted Justin Jefferson, you just can't bench him. He's just too historically. I know he's having a bad year, and also Ladd's having not a great year either compared to his rookie season. Yeah. But Justin Jefferson is just, you gotta just die on the hill. To be frank with you,
I think it'll be interesting for sure to kind of see how it plays out. All right, KS Pace here. Full PPR, pick one wide receiver, one flex. Aaron Jones, Godwin, Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Boot, and Shakir.
You say Boot?
Yeah, Kayshon Boutte. Kayshon Boot or Boot?
Boot.
However you want to call him. He's leading Godwin and Reed right now. I don't know if I can rely on Jones for semifinals. He's splitting with Mason. They use Mason. The rest of the rumors Mason going to take over this game, and he's got lingering injuries. Here's what I'll tell you right now. As far as your receiver position goes, right, I think Khalil Shakir actually is probably a little bit more interesting with me than Godwin. Last week, we saw Chris Godwin, involved with Mike Evans healthy, Jalen McMillan returning to the lineup. There's a lot of volatility outside of Mike Evans in that receiver group. And Emeka Egbuka still had over a 20% target share and 20% first read share. That bodes very poorly for Chris Godwin long-term in this offense, getting the viable production to be consistent in fantasy football. His floor is low this week. Carolina has one of the more underrated defenses in football. I don't love Chris Godwin. Jaden Reed, the concerns with me, if Christian Watson doesn't go, you put him in your lineup, but it looks like Watson's going to go. The reason why I like Shakir more is just the volume he gets in this Bills offense. Against the Browns, they're not going to push the ball down the field. It is going to be a short, quick passing game with a lot of RPOs. And you know who that bodes well for, David? Khalil Shakir in this Bills offense. You watch it every single week. He gets designed screens. He gets designed RPOs.
Yeah.
He gets the ball a lot, and he's going to have to make guys miss after the catch. And he is going to have that volume in PPR that makes you feel a little bit more confident over those other options. But I'm going Aaron Jones in the flex. And I know you mentioned your concerns about Jordan Mason in this offense, right, and stuff like that. But what's encouraging for me is that over the last 2 weeks, Jones is averaging 14.5 touches per game and 70.5 total yards per game, right? That's respectable work. The Cowboys were an underratedly tough matchup last week. This week, it is a cakewalk against the New York Giants. Most yards per carry allowed since week 8, second most yards after contact allowed. He is still sitting at a 55% snap share and a 45.2% route share, so he has that receiving upside as well. Honestly, I love Aaron Jones this week. He is the first time this year I have him within my top 20 at the running back position. He is going to be in for a nice week. And while I think Jordan Mason may have like 6 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown, I still think Aaron Jones can have 16 touches for 100 total yards and a touchdown and have a really nice day in a great matchup. What are your thoughts?
For the wide receiver, and I'm saying this as a Bills fan, I'm starting Chris Godwin.
You're starting Chris Godwin.
I don't trust a single pass catcher on Buffalo. Unless you classify James Cook as a pass catcher. That is the only person outside of Josh Allen that I trust in the Bills offense.
It's the only guy you trust? I mean, I don't love Khalil Shakir, but I mean, the other options are scary here for me.
I understand, and I'm starting Aaron Jones in the flex. I agree with you there. It does come down to Shakir or Godwin for me, especially with Christian Watson starting. But yeah. I'm leaning more towards Godwin, especially because I started Parkinson this week and I benched Godwin. So naturally, that means Godwin's going to go off on my bench. So with that logic, got to start Chris Godwin.
Oh, the logic.
Hey, the logic hits 75% of the time. I don't know where that number came from, but you just got to trust.
The logic is all feel based over there. There's two
It
different
works.
strategies in play right now. All right. The Reaper's going also pick 2 for flex. Dowdle, McLaurin, and Stephon Diggs. I'm going Rico Dowdle in this group. I mentioned earlier on the show, 5 of his last 6 games over 11 points. The Bucks are 5th worst in yards before contact, and Dowdle is just very good after contact this year. I think he has an elite ceiling and he has a high floor to pair with it. So lock him into your lineup. But McLaurin and Diggs is a tougher question for me. Personally, for me, damn, dude. I don't love either of them this week, but I would go Stephon Diggs slightly over Terry McLaurin. I'm a bit scared of that Philly matchup on the outside against Quinion Mitchell. I know he had a good game in the playoffs against them last time they matched up, but also Marcus Mariota is at quarterback, and I know McLaurin's had some decent production with him at the helm, and he's been better as of late, but the matchup against Philly is no joke. And Stephon Diggs has a bit of a nice matchup against Baltimore, 9th most perimeter receiving yards allowed this year. Go Diggs. I know he's been volatile, but I think he just has the better matchup that you want this week.
I completely agree. I'd start Rico Dowdle, and between Terry and Diggs, Terry's got a very tough matchup, and I think despite Diggs having a couple down weeks, that they got to get him more involved before the playoffs, and I think that's going to start this week.
I love this comment right here, bro. You got to get away from the paper and watch these games. I watch the games and I watch the paper. You just the only way to actually have somewhat of logic behind what can happen in a game is actually having the stats behind a matchup. It's the best way to prepare. If you go into a game without looking at any stats, you're basically going all off of your eyes. If you go off of your eyes and the paper, it's good. And I will say this about the Bills matchup, right? They do go through the run game, but Cleveland's run defense has also just been incredibly dominant this year as well. So if James Cook is slowed down, who gets the ball the second most in that Buffalo offense? David, tell me.
James Cook again.
No. No.
Yes. Yes.
No. Okay. No
Dalton
shit. No shit. No shit.
Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox.
Yes, they're good matchups, but also like look at the other receivers in that situation. You're telling me like
what receivers? What receivers do we have? Right?
You're telling me Chris Godwin, who is the wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 in this offense now, Romeo Doubs, who's been irrelevant since week 8, Jaden Reed, who is only matchup dependent if Christian Watson is out, and then Kayshon Boutte, who if he doesn't catch one deep ball, he has 2 points. You mean to tell me that Khalil Shakir is not a better statistical option than those guys this week?
I'm telling you right now, I will make a $20 side bet with you that Chris Godwin outscores Khalil Shakir this week.
We will see about that. No, I will actually have to look into that, and we might have to do that because I enjoy free money.
Oh right. Yeah,
I enjoy free money. Okay, let's go to our next question here. Nope, we did that one. All right. Start 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, 1 flex, full PPR. Burrow, McCarthy, Shuck, Dart, Caleb, Loveland, Strange, Egabuka, Emmanuel Wilson, Michael Wilson, Breece Hall. As far as this situation goes, I got Burrow as my highest quarterback. I know David's probably going to go with Jackson Dart in this one. But like I mentioned with Burrow, T. Higgins back. The splits with and without T. Higgins are significant. The Dolphins matchup is not a scary one for the quarterback position. As far as the tight end position goes, Loveland and Strange becomes interesting for me. The Bears are without a ton of pass catchers today. And I think despite the tough matchup against Green Bay, I think Loveland gets more involved. He caught a touchdown against them last time, had a nice game. Give me Colston Loveland in that one. Denver has been pretty good against tight ends. Strange is going to struggle. And then flex, you got Egabuka, Emmanuel Wilson, Michael Wilson, Breece Hall. Out of that group, give me Breece Hall. I like the matchup against the Saints. I think that, Brady Cook, he was incredibly bad last week, but the Saints have had one significant weakness on their defense. It's their run defense has been incredibly volatile this year. Their pass defense has actually been really underrated. Give me Breece Hall to fill in that lineup. What are your thoughts?
As you predicted correctly, I would go Jackson Dart at quarterback. I would also go Loveland at tight end, though. And for the flex, this comes down to if Josh Jacobs misses, I'm starting Emmanuel Wilson. If Josh Jacobs plays, I start Michael Wilson in the flex.
Yeah, well, yeah. If Marvin Harrison Jr. does not go, do not go. Or sorry, go Michael Wilson. All right, next one here. Should I start Burrow, Herbert, or Purdy? I think Joe Burrow might be the most ass player of the day. He might easily
Dude,
be.
hey, I'm just saying, everyone's on my side. No one wants to trust him.
Well, everybody's concerned about him. I'm going Brock Purdy in this situation. Purdy,
Agreed.
he is my league winner at the quarterback position to close the year. You saw it last week against the Titans. It's all schedule based with Purdy. He's a guy that you could have picked off of waivers, and he has 3 straight good matchups in the fantasy playoffs to cash in. The Colts bottom 5 defense and passing yards allowed. The 49ers have been incredibly hot offensively. You saw last week what they could do, and this is another week where I think they have a strong game. What are your thoughts?
I agree completely. Purdy has been the most consistent, and his floor is 20 to 25 points, especially against a Colts secondary that's injured. I don't see any scenario he scores less than 20.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
All right. Well, now you just mushed it. There, I knocked on some wood. All right, we're good. All right, Jackson Dart or Justin Herbert. I got Herbert in this one. The Cowboys matchup is really good for quarterbacks this year. Basically, every quarterback is having success. If 9 can have success against you, then basically every quarterback can have success against you. So Justin Herbert, I think he has a strong day. He's right inside my top 12. I have him as my QB 11. Jackson Dart, right outside my top 12. He's sitting at quarterback 16. So I like Herbert. I like the matchup. Dart, don't love the matchup this week. Give me Justin Herbert.
I'm gonna go Jackson Dart for the sole reason Justin Herbert hasn't had a 15-point plus game since week 9 against the Titans.
He's
The
been
last
bad. He has
the
been
la-
bad.
I'm trusting Jackson Dart with probably more eggs than I should in a basket, but I'm just riding the Jackson Dart wave.
I do think it is dependent on your matchup as well. Like if you are chasing a ceiling, I think you go Justin Herbert and what he can provide this week. I think if you're chasing a floor, you go Jackson Dart because of what he's done this year. He only has one game under 15 points, right? You chase the floor with Jackson Dart, and I think if you're chasing like a 25 to 30 point outing, Herbert has that upside this week. I don't think Dart does in that really tough matchup. All right. Next one here. Oh, I'm lagging. Nice lag right there. Goff, Love, or Bo Nix in this situation. I'm going Jared Goff, man. The matchup is great against the Steelers. I mentioned earlier. Ninth most points allowed to the quarterback position. Goff, 20 points in 3 of his last 4. He's been a 300 passing yard machine. I love the matchup. I think this is a high scoring game we get. What are your thoughts here, David?
No, I agree completely. Between these 3 quarterbacks, especially down the stretch, I trust Jared Goff the most. And honestly, it just kind of comes down to who you trust on your team the most, who's been consistent, who hasn't royally screwed you the last few weeks. And I feel like Jared Goff, unlike Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert that we've been getting questions for, he just hasn't ruined anyone's playoffs or playoff odds or anything like that. He's been consistent.
Yeah, never fade brick. I hope you got our answer to this question. We both went Brock Purdy in this one. I know Twitter, you were one of the few Twitter guys in the stream today, but Purdy in that situation against the Colts is your play in that case scenario. All right, Justin Jefferson question. Give me it. Give me it.
Oh
Justin
boy.
Jefferson, Agabuka, or Jaden Reed. 6 points.
Jefferson or
Would you
hold
play
on.
Lamar or Burrow? I'm going Lamar over Burrow in a 6 point passing touchdown league. I think that while Lamar Jackson has just not been himself, his passing upside this week against New England, a defense that struggled against the pass and hasn't provided much pass rush, bodes well for this Ravens passing attack. I know that Mike Vrabel's had success against Lamar. I just love the over in this matchup. The over is really in play for that one. And then Jefferson, Agabuka, or Jaden Reed in non PPR. It's Justin Jefferson. All right, the matchup is great against the Giants, who have allowed the 3rd most receiving yards in the NFL in the entire year. They've struggled against receivers in general the entire year. Most yards per play, but big plays allowed. Like they're just bad defense this year. All they can do is rush the passer. And Justin Jefferson, the targets are there, the volume's there. Really close to 2 touchdowns last week, especially at non PPR. You're basically chasing touchdown upside. They're going to have plenty of touchdown opportunities versus Agabuka. I think is your next closest option. I don't love the touchdown upside in that matchup between Carolina and Tampa Bay. It feels like an under game there.
So I would go Lamar over Burrow. And again, I've said this before. I think you just got to die on the Justin Jefferson hill. This was a little bit easier from Jefferson to Ladd or Jefferson Egbuka. So I'd go Jefferson here. And I just want to take a second to really admire the fact of, can you imagine if months ago people would tell you in week 16 we would have a Justin Jefferson or Jaden Reed?
Yeah.
What a fall off.
That's just
you think Jaden Reed is having a monster season.
That's the 2025 season summed up in one statement right there. Is you just don't know what to expect this year. All right, next question here. Worried about Marks? Stick with Marks if healthy, or go estimate Diggs, Coker, or Goddard in my flex. Leaning Goddard for floor. I think
I'm kind of with him on this.
Yeah, it's close.
I would start Marks if healthy, then probably Goddard if Marks misses.
I do think Estime is a sneaky play this week for a lot of teams. The biggest thing that concerns me is what snap share we get. They played basically him and Evan Hull played an even amount of snaps. Estime got more of that receiving work. I think it'd be safer not to play him this week. But I have Goddard as a must start. Woody Marks, I have my concerns with. You have your concerns as well. Goddard, I have as a must start. It's a great matchup against the Commanders. He's finished within the top 5 tight ends back-to-back weeks. Go with Dallas Goedert. Ride the hot hand in that matchup. Next one here. Dak or Brissett also need upside with Wan'Dale. Debo, Troy Franklin, Keenan Allen, Jaden Reed need one half PPR. Give me Jacoby Brissett. The guy has been a walking 18 points. He hasn't scored under that mark since he took over as a starter. You know what's crazy? He's the quarterback 3 since taking over as a starter, only behind Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence. Crazy to think about Jacoby.
Trevor Lawrence is only there because of that one game.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right about that. But he needs upside between Wan'Dale, Debo, and that group. Wan'Dale gives you the highest upside. You've already seen it from him this year. Any week he can go for 20-plus points just based on his usage alone without Malik Neighbors and scoring touchdowns. You gonna agree with me?
Yeah, I am. I really like Wan'Dale. He's really stepped up, honestly, as a receiver this season when Malik Neighbors went down. And between the other receivers, I definitely don't trust Reed. Troy Franklin is very hit or miss. And even when he does hit, it's nothing crazy. And Keenan Allen, he was special the first half of the year, but the second half, he just hasn't.
He's fallen off a cliff.
Yeah. So it's really just Wan'Dale or Debo. And even then, it's still Wan'Dale by a fair amount, in my opinion.
Yep. All right. Kyron and Jason Myers only got me nice lag, 10.5 points combined. So we definitely need CMC, Cook, Kill something the defense carry me. Whoever I play at quarterback 1. Yeah, I think you should be in a good spot with Lamar and Justin Jefferson. Ceiling wise, Jefferson still has that play for you as well. All right. Hey, I'm up 40. Schultz or Loveland and Devontae Smith or Jaden Reed when Green Bay plus tonight, and Watson hasn't been ruled out. Okay. I like Loveland over Schultz this week. I think it's in a large part due to the Bears being without a lot of pass catchers entering this matchup tonight. And I wasn't super high on Loveland the last time they played, but he had a really strong game due to that matchup. I think you go Loveland and then Devonta Smith or Jaden Reed. You go Devonta Smith, even if Christian Watson isn't active tonight, which he's trending towards being active. I think Devonta Smith, great matchup against the Commanders. They've been struggling against every single receiver group this year, and you roll the dice with that. What are your thoughts?
I agree. Ben Johnson will get Loveland the ball a lot more without Burden or Odunze. And between Devontae Smith and Jaden Reed, again, even if Watson's out, I still would start Devontae Smith over Jaden Reed. That's just personal preference. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You don't got to do anything special with your lineup here. Just Loveland and Smith for me.
Yeah. All right. Have a good weekend too. Hopefully you secure that championship dub. All right. Last question for us here. Need 3 full flex. Ladd, Hampton, Michael Carter, Kenny G. Who's Kenny G? T-Mac started Puka Thursday. And then quarterback
Kenny Gainwell, Ryan. Come on now.
I don't know why, but I only could think of Kenny Galladay.
That's where your mind went.
Kenny Galladay. My mind went. And
I was like, are you thinking of Walker? Like who?
Yeah, no, I don't know why.
Kenny Galladay. I'd start him over Jefferson.
All right, quarterback wise, I'm going Jacoby Brissett. You agree with me here? I mean, like he's just been a walking 18 plus points. The Falcons' pass defense is brutal. You in this boat?
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. I'm still trying to look at the other lead three.
No, I got you.
Well,
And then the 3 flex.
yeah,
I'm
Jacoby
probably
Brissett for
leaning.
sure.
He started Puka already. I got Lad in there. Chase the upside with Lad this week, and I think you also go. You go T Mac. I like T Mac this week. I think he's my wide receiver 18. We talked about that earlier. It's a good matchup against the Bucs secondary that struggled. And
Who's your
then the
running backs to have these options in your flex?
honestly, give me Hampton. I don't love Hampton this week, but I think he's a decent play. What are your thoughts?
Hampton's got to be a great play if you're saying to play him because you hated Hampton all year long.
That's not true. I just didn't like him as much as RJ Harvey.
Hey.
That's all I said. All I said.
I can't wait for the drafts next year. Everyone's gonna start.
I've been right with some takes. I've been wrong with some takes. Let's just say that.
I'm laser focused on the Harvey one. That's the only one I see. But I go Lad for sure for the upside. I agree. The next one, honestly, for me is 100% Gainwell. I think he's been insane on Pittsburgh. I did not see it coming going heading into this year. I thought he was
receiving volume too, which is
I thought for sure he'd be their RB3. I thought it was just Warren and Caleb Johnson, and that was going to be it. And Gainwell will just be there. But he's been great for so many teams down the stretch. I've seen him in so many playoff teams, whether he's in their flex or just a high quality bench player. But with this lineup, Lad, Kenny Gainwell, and then between Hampton and Michael Carter, I'm always going to say Hampton.
All right, last one of the day for sure this time. Hendy, Harvo, Rico, Swift, Monungai, Jamo, Egabu-Katet, one running back, one wide receiver, one flex. Let's just say this team is stacked. As far as the running backs go, damn, dude, this team is loaded. Give me Jameson Williams at wide receiver, though. He's been on fire. The Steelers have been allowing big plays at an insane rate this year. And as far as the running backs go, give me DeAndre Swift, right? If he's officially full, ready to go today, he has a great matchup against Green Bay. We saw what he did last time in this matchup. Henderson and Harvey, too. Give me TreVeyon Henderson. I like Henderson, and then Rico would be my next option after that if I had another one. What are your thoughts?
So you're going with JMO Henderson?
I'm going with TreVeyon Henderson, Jameson Williams, and DeAndre Swift.
Okay. I'm also going JMO for the wide receiver just because I've watched a lot. Steelers probably the second most team I watch just because my friends are Steelers fans, unfortunately. But the amount of big plays they give up is astronomical. Start Jameson Williams. He's going to have a big play. For the running back, TreVeyon Henderson. I also think he's just going to be a home run hitter again this week. And for the flex, it's really between Swift and Tedero McMillan for me. And anytime I'm 50-50 on it, assuming this is a PPR league, I don't think he's stated. But if it's PPR, I tend to lean towards the wide receiver. So if it's PPR, Tedero McMillan in the flex. If it's standard, Swift in the flex.
All right, now you guys heard it here. I will be answering everybody's start and sit questions up until kickoff today and tomorrow. So make sure you guys check out my Twitter. Check out David's Twitter as well. Give him a follow. Appreciate you coming on, David. Hope everybody has a great second round of the fantasy football playoffs, and we'll catch you guys next time here on Blitz Fantasy Football.